and welcome to the 9. I am your queen, Merce, as usual, and today I have decided that I'm going to do another baking stream. I've been wanting to make some cookies for a little while now. I've actually kind of been wanting to make just about anything. The mats aren't located very well. So I have in my bowl, I have 2/3 of a cup of butter and 2/3 of a cup of shortening, and it's kind of a little bit meltier than I think it should be. And to that, I'm going to add a cup of white sugar and a cup of brown sugar. I'm just going to mix that together. I'm just going to take this spatula and scrape down my paddle. As well, I'm going to take a spatula and I'm going to scrape down the bowl. And with the KitchenAid mixer, there's like a little valley. So you want to make sure that when you're scraping your bowl that you get into that little valley. Otherwise, you'll just end up with a pile of like dry ingredients and whatnot that you have to incorporate. Okay. I'm just going to give this another whirl. You want it to be light and fluffy. I'm now going to add 2 eggs. And we're just going to mix them till they're incorporated. A teaspoon and a little bit extra because vanilla tastes good. That can just stay there. I'm just going to mix this again. I'm just going to do another scraping. going to start adding our flour. So I have here 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. And I've just whisked them together. And now I'm going to add this by bits, because if you don't, it's just going to go everywhere. And let's face it, it's just going to go everywhere. That's one of the reasons why we have this here flour shield. Lock that back down. Oh, I forgot to turn the oven on. Oh, so I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees. I found that this oven, it's kind of difficult to judge the baking on it. I usually cook it about 25 degrees lower than what the recipe calls for, and I also tend to like have the time like right on. I'm just gonna lift this up, and I'm just gonna add some more flour. Oops. Now I am actually going to do what I didn't do on the last ad, and I should have, and that's scraping down the sides. Making sure to get that valley. I'm going to keep one more addition of flour, so put our guard back on. And last addition. Okay, we are done. So I'm just going to use again this little metal spatula to scrape off the paddle. I'm not going to be needing this again. I swear these are like the best chocolate chip cookies. Alright. So I've got the paddle scraped down. I'm going to take it off. later. Just going to shove it out of the way for a moment. Now, I found that like while mixing up the batter, the dough, whatever, well, it's good to do that with the mixer. I've found that when you're doing the chocolate chips, it's better to add them in by hand. So I've got my 1 bag of Hershey's Chippers chocolate cookies. Or chocolate chips, I should say. And you know, they've also got a pretty good recipe on the back of their bags, so that's always an option that you could go with. I'm going to eat a couple of these. And to just make sure that I'm getting down there around that little valley. All right. So I've got my parchment lined paper here, pan here. So I'm just going to take out a spoonful of the dough, place it on the pan. You want to try to make them as even as possible. Never been my strong point. This needs a little bit more. Now it's possible, because I let the butter and shortening get so soft, that these are going to really spread. But we'll just have to wait and see. One pan. Second pan. Okay, where's my phone? 8 to 10 minutes. So going into the oven. minutes. Well, let's just go with 9. It starts smelling done, I can always pull them out. Okay. This is going to be fun. Put this back basically into its corner. Whew. Actually, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the computer and I'm going to move it over to the table. Woo. Shit. Oh, wait. Got to get the computer plugged back in. I was not expecting that to happen. All right. We are back in business. I'll move this over. Actually, I can put this away. Bring out my cooling racks. Deposit this stuff into the sink for a moment. That I'm going to keep aside. I'll leave there for now. All right. So I do have one more tray of cookies to pan up here. Although I'm pretty sure that I have more than one tray of cookies in the bowl. could probably take a look at the ones that are in the oven, and I can see how they'd be baking up, and I can see if they're just spreading together into a big plum. Now I'm going to move this back over to here because stuff's going to come out of the oven and I don't want to trip over that. Here's my water. All right. I'm just going to pull this chair over. And wait for the alarm to go off. 2 minutes. Okay. So, is it this one? Ah, it is this one. Okay. Let's go and let's take a look at Ask Amy. Actually, maybe not. Let's do. Let's take a look at Reddit. Okay, this is actually be a good one for me because I also enjoy baking, and this would probably be some good advice for me here. So, okay. Am I the asshole for not baking an extra cupcake for my colleague? I, 24 female, love baking and I love sharing my baked goods too. I generally get along with everyone else in the office except for this one guy, which I will call Leo, 36 male. Not real name, whom I wasn't on very good terms with because of the events that happened years ago when I first joined the company as a fresh graduate. Leo complained that I'm lazy, hates cleaning up after my mistakes, and I made him vomit blood. I did ask him for mentoring help to generate the reports in the way he expects, but he didn't want to. Instead, he asked me to look at his report and follow his style. Fortunately, I was redeployed to another role in the same department with a better mentor. We don't talk to each other since. My birthday fell on a Sunday. I decided to bake cupcakes for everyone in the office as a form of celebration to be giving out on Friday of that week. I considered baking one for him, but decided against it because of how I tried to share food but was rejected. I believe that even if I made him the cupcake, he would turn it down in a way which will make me lose face in front of everyone in the office. Okay, time to check the cookies. They're smelling pretty good. And they did spread quite a bit. Another 9 minutes on the clock. And we'll go back to this here. All right. For practical reasons, too, I decided to make 24 cupcakes, only have 12 whole cupcake tray, and there would only be 2 rounds of baking. There were 25 people in the office, excluding me. Okay, so maybe you end up not having a cupcake in order so that everybody else can have one. Because right now I'm kind of thinking, like, just the way that they said this, I considered baking one for him, but decided against it. So, like, you were thinking about it. Anyway. So on Friday, I came into the office with a box of cupcakes, which took me the whole night to bake, and I also woke up early to put the frosting in. Okay. Right after lunch, I went from table to table, offering my colleagues a cupcake each, and everyone was appreciative of it. When I reached Leo's table, I tried offering it to him. Okay, that's good at least. As expected, he said no, but in a manner I find to be pretty respectful. After distributing the cupcakes, one of my colleagues came up to me and asked for the extra cupcake that Leo rejected. I told my colleague I actually baked just enough for the office, excluding Leo, so there was no extra cupcake. My colleague looked shocked, so I told her that baking the cupcakes didn't come cheap, and since Leo was going to reject it anyway, I didn't bake more. I also told her about the limits of my oven, and I just simply didn't have enough time to do 3 rounds of baking to only be turned down at the end. When I came back on Monday, word had apparently spread to everyone in my department how Leo didn't get a cupcake, and I left him out intentionally. Leo didn't say anything to me about the cupcake thing, but I was told by a colleague that he was really upset and he really loved cupcakes and would have come around if I had just left some in the fridge and leave him alone to get it. Problem is, you leave a cupcake in the fridge in the office that doesn't actually have anything marked on it, somebody's going to eat it. So, well, I can kind of understand that, but like that's being a little passive there. So, Red, am I the asshole for baking 24 cupcakes instead of one more? I mean, I could just do one more round in the oven with 1 or 2 cupcakes, but that would be a waste of electricity and my time. Before we get into what the people are going to be saying here, I kind of think that this person is the asshole. I kind of like understand from, but she could have gone through and done this in a much better way. So, now, I made an assumption that she was making them from a cake mix. But even so, a cake mix is typically 2 8 or 9 inch round cakes or 24 cupcakes. So typical cake recipes are usually about the same. They'll make an 8 or 9 2 8 or 9 round inch. Can't speak. 2 8 or 9 inch round cakes, and then it'll be like a 12 by 13 24 cupcakes. So it's not just like about that. Like if you're going to go through, and especially if you are using a cake mix, you're now going to use 2 cake mixes and you're going to have 48 cupcakes for 25 people. And maybe everybody would be happy to get an extra cupcake, and I'm almost wondering if maybe she did do them from a scratch recipe because told her the baking the cupcakes didn't come cheap. Yeah, it's actually pretty cheap to buy a cake mix and a can of icing. And I'm somebody who really enjoys baking and doing more from scratch stuff. So anyway, let's see what people have to say here. But yes, should have kept the details for. I only baked 24 because I knew from experience not everyone would take one, and I only had 24 cupcake slots to work with. Or actually, because there's 25, including you say you baked one for everybody, and you only had the 24 slots to work with, so everybody was going to get one except for you. And when somebody turned down their cupcake, you decided to have cupcake. So I think that this one, that right there, I think is probably, I'm actually going to upvote that one because I think that that's actually probably the best way to do it. For her to have gone on and been like, oh, well, you know, I didn't do it, and like blah, 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 Leo this, Leo that. No, we don't need to, we don't need to get into that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, because I'm pretty sure that these have now cooled enough. Yeah, they look pretty good, eh? Just turn this over here. Got my rack set up. I'm just going to take the cookies off and place them on the rack to finish cooling. They might be a little underdone, but when it comes to cookies, a little underdone is okay in my book. Very hot. Trivet. That's what I can use. Just gonna get a trivet, and I don't actually want to start putting the cookies onto these pans because they are still kind of hot. The trivet will help them cool down a little bit quicker. Trivet. Here, trivet. And basically, I'm just sort of setting these up because the other ones are going to be coming out of the oven shortly. Just go back over here for now. Got a minute left. So I might actually end up streaming again a little bit later today. I do have my primed parts to paint. So I might go and stream that for a little bit, and I may do some Madden, but I may just sort of take some time and watch some TV or something, watch something that I'm wanting to watch. I'm not too sure what that would be, but I have to figure something out. I have to take everything back downstairs, set it all back up downstairs, which I knew I was going to have to do anyway. All right. Okay. So those are the last of the cookies. Well, right now, so we've got those cookies are out of the oven now. So let's just go through and we will do the best part about making cookies. Is eating the cookie. That's a really good cookie. I like the thinness of it. It's got that outer crunch and the inner gooiness. So, as I said, some of them might be a little bit underdone, but again, when it comes to cookies, to be a little bit underdone is better than being a little bit overdone. But that's just my opinion. So now, basically, all I have to do is I have to finish panning up the cookies, and then I have to do my cleanup. So, basically, it's all stuff that you've already seen, well, except for cleanup, but I'm sure you've done your own cleanup at some point, and you don't really need to see it. Like, you know what cleanup is. So, until next time, follow me on Twitter. It's the best way to go to know. I usually post on there just before I stream, so that would be the best way to make sure that you don't miss anything. You can also follow me on Instagram. And if you do miss anything, you can always check out my YouTube channel. Links are somewhere down below, I think. Anyway, it was great to hang out with you on this.